Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is Something Saturday where we talk about all the things we didn't get to talk about the rest of the week. And we kind of have some news that's been coming out. A lot of people talking about the Snyder Cut and the possibility that this new charity event that he's hosting could have bigger announcements ahead. So let's break it down a little bit, the pros and cons, and kind of just be fans together and think about what these possibilities are. Let's jump right into it. So what is the situation with the Snyderverse? Is it coming back or is it not? Is there any actual hope that it could? This has been a big topic for way too long with absolutely no answers coming out one way or another. Or so one side would have you say versus another side would have you believe that it will never happen. Me personally, I fall in the middle of this. If the Snyderverse continues, then I'm all for it continuing. And I'm for it continuing simply because I am a completionist and I like to see other people be able to complete the task at hand. If someone told me that I couldn't write a story that I had already started simply because they no longer wanted it, I would probably still write that story. So is it possible as a writer, as a director, as a storyteller in general, that he already has this screenplay, he already has it situated, everything that he has put out there is what he intends to do? That is 100% possible. And it is 100% possible that he could announce at this event coming up that the Snyderverse is back on. Now, he talked in an interview recently about Abney and DeLuca, who are big shots over at DC, over at Warner Brothers, and how they actually are decent people and he appreciates them. He talked about how he likes where things are going in the DC universe, kind of thing. He doesn't have anything mean to say about them. But fans are still 100% divided. On one side, you have fans that absolutely deplore the idea that anybody else could ever take over the DC until Snyder completes his universe. And then on the other side, you have people that are entirely for the Snyderverse not continuing at all in any way, shape, or form. But as a fan of movies in general, and as a fan of all things creative, I love the idea that we could get both. The new people in charge of DC have been talking about Elseworld stuff still being a major part of everything. If Elseworlds are a thing, and we know they are, why not have Snyder continue this dark saga that's been so popular? Whether you like or hate what he did with the DC films, in an Elseworld scenario, we don't have to all like it. It's Elseworlds. And as an Elseworlds movie, it's not happening in the main universe anymore. And people can pick and choose which universe they tend to like the best, and they can watch those. And it's perfectly acceptable to have more than one set of movies in the Elseworlds saga. Because we already have the Joker 2, we have Batman with Patterson. So what's to stop other things from leaking through, other things that are Elseworld stories? I find it very possible that we could see his universe continue. However, I would not hold my breath for that for one reason. He does seem to have moved on to Rebel Moon. He is not saying that he would never continue the DC movies. He's not saying that. But the longer it takes for him to do it, the less likely it's going to become. And we've already seen a number of years pass now We've seen how much time has passed. And the fans are still adamant that they want to see it. And some of the stars may come back. But I think it would be dependent on this. At this stage, it would be dependent on whether or not you could get all the stars to come back. We already know that there's a glitch. You have Ezra Miller, and Ezra Miller may not be able to come back. So you recast him? How do you explain this within the Snyderverse? Does the Snyderverse go from the Flash movie forward? If so, how? We still don't know what to expect in the Flash movie. The longer we wait for the Snyderverse to continue in a live-action film, the less likely it is to happen. But he hasn't said no. And I do think that this is important to talk about, because one thing that the Snyderverse supporters have right is that Snyder doesn't seem to have given up on the idea of doing a sequel. And this event, this charity event for suicide prevention, has garnered a lot of money already. Tickets sold out in like 10 minutes for all 3 days. But the thing of it is that if it doesn't get made, and if it doesn't happen, what then? Because the people over at DC haven't actually told him to be quiet about it. They haven't told him no. They could have told him no charity event because you're not going to make money in any way, shape, or form over this movie. And let's be real. This is a charity event. But even at a charity event, not all of the proceeds are probably going to charity. Some of them will be going to him, which means he will make money off of this. And whether he chooses to spend that money on another project, whether he chooses to put that money back into the idea of DC, whether he chooses to put that money towards charity himself, the overhead has to be paid for the event. The people involved have to be paid. All of this is not done necessarily beforehand. This is done through ticket sales, through support, through everything else. So we are seeing him possibly making a little bit of money, and DC hasn't stopped him. And that raises a good question. If they haven't stopped him, why? Is there more to the story? Could we be getting the Snyderverse continuing in some capacity? It's 100% possible. Only, I don't think we're getting it in a film. If anything, I think we might be looking at an animated film on Netflix, or possibly an because I say Netflix because of the whole thing, the whole hashtag about Netflix buying the Snyderverse. I don't think that will happen. I don't think that can happen because of licensing issues. But we could get an animated Snyder cut that is an Elseworlds movie in the whole DC station, you know, the whole Warner Brothers station, the whole HBO Max, that whole thing. They could potentially do that. Warner Brothers could stream it themselves. And it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. If they knew it would make money, and they knew there was fans for it, then yes, they would probably do it. But a live action is probably not a thing at this point. I'm sorry to everyone who only wants a live action version. It's not a thing that's going to happen. The other option is comic books. It could come to pass that they just put out a comic book series. Now let me just kind of play devil's advocate again, because here's the thing. A lot of people just want the movie. And if you put out a comic book, not everyone's going to read the comic book, but the comic book might be your best option, because look at the video game Injustice that got its own comic book series for a long time. And every time a new Injustice game would come out, more comics, more things, this could continue on the Snyderverse in the comic book realm for a very long time. Snyderverse could be the new DC Comics of an Elseworlds type of ongoing comic book series. And I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. In fact, you could do a lot more in a comic book than you can do in animation. And you could do a lot more in animation than you can in live action. So really kind of like, the thing of it is, what's the best scenario for it? What is the best scenario we could possibly hope for? And what do you think he means when he says full circle? Is he talking about the Rebel Moon series? Is his announcement going to be that it's all over and that fans should embrace James Gunn's universe? I'm okay with that if he says that. I'm okay with the other way around if he says that. Just my whole thing as a fan is that I want other fans to get along. So I put it off to you guys. What do you think about this whole thing? Do you think that he's going to continue the Snyderverse? And in what capacity would you like to see it continue? And how likely do you think that would be? Keep it nice. We're all fans here. We love and respect each other as fans because, yeah, it's just the way it is. All fans are fans. They all like the same thing, so let's not treat each other bad. But I want to know what you guys think. So make sure you leave us a comment in the comment box below. Share this video with all of your friends so they can be a part of the conversation as well. Go ahead and hit that like button. It helps the channel. It's free. And hit that subscribe button. Miko says we need more subscribers, and you don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video we do. Then friends, yes, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.